Breaking news, today the crypto world is on fire because new developments suggest XRP may be on the path to becoming a Tier 1 financial asset. Yes, a Tier 1 asset, the same category used by banks for the safest, most liquid, and most globally accepted instruments. So what exactly happened? Why are top analysts suddenly screaming, "We finally made it"? And what does this mean for XRP's future price, utility, and global adoption? Let's break it down, clearly, simply, and without the hype. What is a Tier 1 asset? Before we jump into the XRP news, we need to understand the meaning of Tier 1 asset. Tier 1 assets are the highest quality, lowest risk assets banks are allowed to hold. These include cash central bank reserves, high-quality government bonds, and soon, possibly, certain digital assets banks use. Tier 1 assets to measure capital strength, liquidity, and stability. If XRP ever enters this category, even partially, or that means banks trust it, regulators approve it, liquidity providers rely on it, and XRP becomes part of the global financial backbone. This is not a small deal. Why people are saying XRP is entering Tier 1 territory? Recently, several major developments triggered speculation. 1. Ripple's growing relationships with global banks. Multiple banks and institutions are now testing or using Ripple's payment systems. More financial entities using ODL equals more liquidity demand for XRP. 2. The global shift toward tokenized assets. World's biggest financial groups, BlackRock, JP Morgan, IMF, BIS, are openly saying programmable tokenized assets will dominate finance. XRP's design fits perfectly into this new financial architecture. 3. U.S. regulatory movement. For the first time, U.S. lawmakers are discussing clear guidelines for digital assets. If XRP gets clarity as a non-security, banks can legally use it. 4. ISO 2022 migration and institutional messaging upgrades. XRP Ledger is ISO 2022 compliant, which is the new worldwide banking language. These combined signals made analysts suggest XRP may soon be treated as a regulated, liquid, institution-ready asset, similar to the requirements of a Tier 1 class instrument. The news that ignited the Tier 1 discussion: a top banking research group published a report stating that digital assets with the following traits could be considered for Tier 1 liquidity pools: instant settlement, high-speed confirmation, borderless movement, programmable utility, regulatory clarity, institutional-grade liquidity. XRP hits all 6 requirements. This doesn't mean XRP is already Tier 1, but it means XRP is on the list of potential candidates once regulations finalize. This is why people are saying we finally made it, because XRP is no longer being compared to meme tokens or speculative coins. It's being compared to central bank-level financial instruments. What happens if XRP becomes a Tier 1 asset? If this happens, here's what it could mean. 1. Massive institutional liquidity inflow. Banks don't buy small amounts. They allocate billions into Tier 1 holdings. 2. XRP becomes a preferred settlement asset. Banks could use XRP to manage liquidity, handle cross-border flows, and balance global transactions. 3. Stabilization plus higher long-term price. More institutional demand equals more utility, equals less volatility, equals a stronger, more stable XRP ecosystem. This is where real adoption begins. Price impact. This is not financial advice, but here's a realistic thought. If XRP becomes even a fraction of a Tier 1 recognized asset, its price could move based on utility, not hype. Analysts estimate the utility-driven range could eventually be $5 to $20 during institutional liquidity phase, 20 to 100 plus if XRP becomes a standard settlement layer for banks, 100 plus only in a fully regulatory approved global liquidity ecosystem. Again, these are not guarantees, but utility-driven price is different from pump-driven price. So, did XRP finally make it? Not officially, but the signs, reports, and institutional behavior show XRP is closer than ever to becoming the asset we always believed it could be. A global settlement tool, a liquid institutional-grade instrument, and possibly, one day, a Tier 1 financial asset. The shift isn't coming, it has already begun. If you want more realistic XRP, ISO 2022, and utility-focused crypto updates, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because the next few months are going to be big.